Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Mike and Erich. I'm joined by Eric Tressler, and this is SportsZone coming to you on a Wednesday night. We had some issues on Tuesday when we tried to do this, but we wanted to make sure that we got something out to you guys anyway. So we thank you all for joining us. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing all right.
Yep, and I thank you for joining me on such late notice after the disaster that was last night. I really appreciate you making this with me, man. So,
all right, all good. Let's get sweaty.
Yeah, let's get sweaty. Yes, absolutely. So, where I think we should go to begin with, let's take a look. We got the second half of the baseball season about to start on Friday. Of course, we had the All-Star game last night. The Home Run Derby was Monday night. Pete Alonso won the Home Run Derby, even though I know you had some opinions, and I don't necessarily disagree with you about the outcome of that Home Run Derby. So if you'd like to elaborate, go right ahead.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that any guy who hits 91 home runs, I'm not talking over the course of a year or 2 years, I'm talking in one night.
That's amazing, yeah.
He deserves that title. And, I do think that it was classy on Pete Alonso's part to donate the money to charity. He's a guy who doesn't make a lot of money right now, so I'm sure $1 million to him is more than he's probably making all year long. So he, it could have really benefited him, but instead he turned around and made sure it benefited other people. I thought that was a cool moment. But and with that being said, he also should have turned around and handed that over to Guerrero. I mean, what him and Peterson did in that round, going, he had 40, and then Peterson at 39.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, to be honest, Alonso won, and he only had 60 total. I have a hard time believing that this format is the best way to choose a home run derby champion. I think there are other routes. I mean, I get it that they have rounds to do, and they want to make it a whole night spectacle, a couple-hour event. And maybe my way would be a quicker way to do it, and they wouldn't get all the same sponsorships out of it. So, I mean, I'm sure that there's money motivating factors behind it. But I'm just not a fan of this setup. I don't think you should be doing bracket style. I think it should be pretty much open forum, top four guys. Whoever hits the most home runs in round one moves on to round two, and then you do it that way. It's whoever hits the most home runs. It shouldn't be who you're paired up against.
Well, let me ask you a question about that, because this is a newer format. I think we can both agree on that. But I'm trying to remember, even in the older formats, like 20 years ago, there was always like a round structure where the home runs you hit in one round didn't carry over to the next round. I'm right on that, right?
I think so. They've changed it up a bunch of different times. I mean, listen, it's a great event. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. It gets kids watching. And, there's no denying it was fun to watch Guerrero and Peterson go at it. But then just to see Guerrero, I mean, they hit 40 home runs. I mean, what do you expect him to come out and do next? I mean, he hit 20, I think, in the final round. And usually that's a good round for anybody out there, as is. And instead he had 40 and then gassed himself out. And Alonso ended up edging him out. So I think it would have been an even cooler moment if Alonso had turned and gave him the trophy instead. But
hey, can we not take this away from the Mets, please? This is the only thing we're going to win all season. Can we have one thing, please? I don't care if it's a little tainted. Our no hitter a few years ago was tainted by the ball that we know was fair, but was counted as foul, and that counts because it's in the rules. This is in the rules. Can we have one, please? But I'll tell you this, and I think I heard this: 91 home runs. I think the lifetime record for most home runs in a career in a home run derby, and maybe you heard this. I think it was 96. Maybe by Vlad's father, Vladimir Guerrero Sr. I could be wrong on that. You remember hearing this?
I can't verify that stat. I'll be honest. I'd have to see it. I haven't seen that stat. I do know that like his total has put him up there in the top 1, 2, or 3 just in home run derbies and like one home run derby. So
and remember this is the guy who had the least amount of home runs in the season of all the contestants in the Home Run Derby. He's only got 8 so far in the season, and he hits 91 in the Home Run Derby. So it's amazing.
He came up late, though, I think, didn't he?
He did. You're right on that. I think either they kept him down or he was hurt at some point early in the season. But one way or another, you're right. He did
kept
come
him down to gain another year of control.
Yeah, but I think and I could be wrong about this. You're right on that, but I think at around the time they wanted to bring him up, he had a minor injury that kept him out for a few more weeks because he didn't come up in April, if I'm not mistaken. They brought him.
I don't think it was until May.
Yeah. So I think it was something like that. But anyway, I do agree with you. They should do something where the home runs carry over from round to round. But like I said earlier, I think that's always been an issue with the home run derbies, even with this new format they have. But given how reactionary all the sports leagues are, this will probably be changed if it happens again next year. So anyway, let's keep moving on. Though, congratulations to Pete Alonso. He did good. Congratulations to the U.S. women's soccer team, who won the finals on Sunday. Fourth, it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was their 3rd consecutive gold medal in the World Cup and 4th consecutive finals for the women's national soccer team.
I thought it was only 2 in a row. I could be wrong, but I thought it was only it was 4 total, 2 in a row.
Well,
I could be wrong about that.
We agree on it.
Yeah, been to 3 in a row, maybe, I think is what it was.
Yeah, no, it's something like that. Either way, they've been the most dominant women's soccer team in the world for the better part of the last 20 years. As much as they were not as dominant this time in years past, they still were impressive, though. So I give them that. Anything to say to that, sir?
No, I agree with you. I think it was impressive.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's look ahead. Oh, actually, I do want to say one thing basketball-wise before we move on. And we could touch on some of the off-season stuff from over the weekend later on if you'd like to. But after our failed attempt at a show last night, word came out that the NBA has passed some rules changes for this season, and one of them includes the fact that there is now going to be one coach's challenge per team per game. You hate this, huh? Why do you hate this?
It makes me want to vomit.
Why?
You are literally doing it to every sport. Every sport has replay. Every single one. They all have replay. It's absurd.
I'm gonna.
Not needed. You don't need to challenge everything. You don't need to challenge goaltending and things of that nature. I don't think it's important enough over the course of a game to challenge. I think it's just a waste of time. It's just you're not gonna. I'm not a fan of this at all.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, they're not going to be challenging every play because you only get one coach's challenge per game. And unlike in football, where you keep your challenge if what you're challenging goes in your favor, there isn't that rule here. So you only get it once per game. And I believe I was trying to find the article. I couldn't find the article. There's limitations on what plays you could challenge, and then I think in the final 2 minutes, the option of the challenge goes to the league office in Jersey, I believe. So something like that. Remember also,
problem with that though, Mike. This is the problem with that. This is the stepping stone. It starts with something small. It starts with them saying, "Okay, we're just going to let you replay this, and we're only going to let you replay it one time, and it's going to work, guys. It's going to work. It'll be a good thing for the league, yeah." And how long is it going to be? And so now all of a sudden it's going to be, we need 2 challenges. 1 challenge isn't enough. Why can't we have 1 per half? Then it's going to be, if you're challenging goaltending, why can't you challenge, this and that? Why can't you challenge out of bounds? Why can't you challenge fouls? Why can't you challenge this and that? It is going to evolve the same way it's evolved in football, the same way it's evolving in baseball. It is evolving to a point where over time, everything's going to be reviewable. Everything. But here's what I don't like is just starting it now starts the slippery slope down the same thing the NFL has done and Major League Baseball has done. It is not a path I want to go down.
Well, here's what listen. I've made my feelings known that I'm okay with challenges in football. I mean, we had the big debate a few months ago after the play in the conference championship game where I said I would be okay with every play being reviewable as long as you didn't increase the number of challenges. So I've made my feelings on that one known. Let me ask you something. If the idea of challenges means you can eliminate something like flopping because a foul called because a player flops now becomes reviewable, you wouldn't be okay with that. Flopping is one of the worst things in the sport, though.
I don't care. I don't care if you tell me if it's reviewable. I don't want it. I want review less than I want the flopping.
You do not want the flopping. Eric, I know you don't. You don't like flopping
less than the flopping. I don't like the flopping, no, but I hate the review.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
I do not want a challenge. There should be no coach's challenge. I'm sorry. It should not be a coach's challenge.
Well, in the end, they term it as a 1-year test. So it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out.
Everything. It started that way in baseball. It started that way in football. It starts that way everywhere, and then it evolves to something else. Because once the door is open to crack, if you give people an inch, they're going to take a mile every time. I can't stress it enough. Right now, it seems okay. For the first few years, it'll probably be okay. And then all of a sudden, we'll have a play late in the game that'll be controversial. The next thing you know, at the next owner's meeting, it'll be brought up for review. And you know what? It'll probably pass. Then the next thing you know, 2 years later, it'll be another thing that happens that nobody saw coming, and they'll vote on that one too. And the next thing you know, you might as well just make it one challenge and everything's reviewable. Whatever you want to review, whether it be a foul, whatever else, just one review and you're done. But you can review anything. Might as well just say that.
Well, listen.
Then that wouldn't be truthful because nobody would stick to one challenge. I guarantee you this is going to evolve into a challenge for half. Guaranteed.
Well, listen, here's the thing. I think the way they have it set up this year, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference anyway because one challenge a game, most guys are going to say, most coaches will wind up saving that to the point where they'll run out of time to use it, or they'll use it for no reason.
Nope.
I don't agree. Listen, I don't agree with a lot of your premises.
How often in the NFL do the coaches let the challenges just sit in their pocket?
Yeah, but that's different because you get two of them, and if you get the challenge right, you get the challenge back.
No,
it's not the same thing. It's just not the same thing. If you could challenge
something, say there's 5 seconds to go in a half, regardless of
but you can't do it with 5 seconds left. You can't.
The other team comes down the court. Say there's 2 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the half. Then your team runs down the court. You know you got a challenge in your pocket. Guy drives the lane, misses the basket, falls to the floor. You might as well just throw your challenge and say, hey, I'm going to challenge if there's a foul there. Have them go to the tape, and if two bodies clang together, something's going to get called.
But if it's a flop, I just don't agree with that, though. If the guy just flopped for no reason, I feel like they would do that. They would overturn the challenge, and they'd be like, you just lost your challenge. You just used it for nothing, and we just wasted time, which would go to the argument that maybe we shouldn't do challenges anyway. So that would be my opinion on that.
It's a terrible slope that we're going down. It's an awful decision by the NBA. It's awful, flat out awful, and everybody will see the ramifications over the next few years. Call me Nostradamus if you want, but remember this conversation. I'm going to point to it sometime in the future. Tell you, hey, remember back when I told you this was a terrible idea?
And listen, if it leads to them getting the calls right, my opinion is going to be the same. I am fine with the challenge. I'm okay with it.
4-hour basketball game because they need to stretch it out even longer during the
But the last 5 minutes already take 4 hours to go through anyway. So, I mean, what are you really doing there?
If you're adding more challenges, if you're adding challenges from the booth, if you're adding other stuff, everything can be reviewable. Everything will take time. It's never as short a window as you want it to be. It's always a 2, 3, 4, 5 minute break in between challenges. And I don't need a game extended by another 15 or 20 minutes. I'm sorry. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't think that it helps the NBA in any way. I think this is an awful, awful rule change.
I'm just going to say I don't agree with you. I think anything that helps them get the calls right, I'm all for, because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want a good, clean game, and if you're going to call a call, you want to make sure it's the right call, so I like this one. If it eliminates the bad calls, I'm all for it. Let's move on, though. Let's get off of this. Let's go back to baseball here. Second half starts on Friday. Yankees are still in first place. You got the Mets 10 games out of first place. So what are you looking forward to in the second half of the season? I know you only got a few minutes to go here, so we'll try to make this quick. What are you looking forward to in the second half? Do you see the Yankees pulling off a trade for a pitcher?
I think eventually they'll pull some move up. I don't know what it's going to be. We've all speculated about what pitchers it could be, whether it's Stroman, Bumgarner, Bauer. There's a ton of names out there, and I'm sure a bunch of names are going to come up that haven't even been mentioned yet. I know Syndergaard and Wheeler have been mentioned. A lot of people have been mentioned. I don't see the Yankees and the Mets making a deal.
No.
I could see Boston possibly trading for Wheeler. I bet you that Boston and the Mets maybe get a deal done. I know Boston's going to look to add to their pitching depth and rotation as well to try to make a second half run. I think it's going to be an interesting second half of baseball. Wild cards are definitely up for grabs. Some of the divisions look like they're a bit distant, but I mean the Yankees I think are only 6.5 up on Tampa,
something like that.
And Boston's still in the rearview mirror as well. They're always dangerous, and like I said, they're going to be making moves. So yeah, I don't expect the Yankees to stand pat, especially with the setbacks for Severino that they've had. So I expect them to make some kind of move. It's just when and who that move is, I'm not real sure. I have a feeling that it'll probably be very close to the deadline when something gets pulled off, though.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'll say this in terms of the Mets. I listen. I know right now the Mets season is more than likely dead in the water. I'm not fooling myself on that. I know at some point over the next few weeks the Mets will probably be sellers. But I want you to hear me out on this because I look at the Mets as a team, and I know you and me may differ on this. The bullpen is the main problem. I look at the lineup. I think they still have a good lineup, even with Robinson Cano not doing anything. I look at the pitching staff. That is a serviceable rotation, even though that rotation has so much more potential that it just hasn't lived up to this year. This is my feeling. If you trade Frazier, it doesn't mean you're a seller. If you trade Vargas as well, it does not mean you are a seller. If you trade Zach Wheeler, it does mean you are a seller. I don't think the Mets need to be sellers because, in my opinion, the solution to the season is trying to fix the bullpen. And what I would do if I was the Mets is I'd get on the phone with San Francisco because they have three really good relievers in Will Smith, Tony Watson, Sam Dyson. I would call them up and I would see what I would need to trade them prospect-wise because they're not playing for the season. They're playing for the future. What do you want prospect-wise to try to get all three of those relievers onto my team? And if they could get those three relievers onto their team, I think the Mets could wind up turning the season around in August and September because, to me, the bullpen is what is costing this team everything. That offense keeps the team in games. The rotation keeps the team in games. It is the bullpen that blows 90% of the games nowadays. If you add a few more relievers, I think they would be fine. Tell me I'm wrong.
I just think you'd be fixing one hole and then opening up another because, again, I just don't think that fixes the problem. I think
what is the problem?
I don't think they have enough offense. I'll be honest. I think outside of Alonso and McNeil, I think they're offense deprived. So I don't think that fixing the bullpen will fix all the problems. It'll make them probably a closer to 500 team. Yeah. Would it improve your second half? Yeah, but do I think it makes a difference in a playoff run? Absolutely not.
See, but again, I'm gonna disagree with you on the offense because McNeil and Alonso, we can all agree that's the core of your offense right now. Dominic Smith, very good this season. Michael Conforto, we still have to see what he is. Still a solid bat. Ahmed Rosario, shit glove, pretty good on offense though. That's a very good core you have there. And if you can get J.D. McNeil regular playing time, which trading a Todd Frazier would do, because you could put both McNeil and Davis in the lineup at the same time, I think you got something there. I just think you have something there. And if you look at what they've done in the first half of the season, the offense has not been the problem. It is entirely the bullpen. So to say you're fixing one hole and at the expense of the other, I don't necessarily agree with it. And I'm not saying it definitely makes them a playoff team. I'm saying it improves their chances 99% of the way there. So that is my opinion on that. All right. So I think with that, you got to get out of here, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to say parity at least in the NBA now. Even though I don't love the move because all the stars are out west, at least there's parity across the NBA. We're back to the dynamic duo instead of the threesome.
Yeah, I'll say again that Paul George going to the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard definitely stunned the hell out of me. I was not expecting that. But yes, I like the fact that you can look at the NBA right now and then there is not one clear-cut favorite. You have a number of teams who you can make a case could win the championship in the right set of circumstances, whether it's the Clippers, the Lakers, Utah, Denver, a couple other teams you could throw in there from the West. I like Philadelphia and Milwaukee in the East. I think Philadelphia needs a couple more shooters with the loss of J.J. Redick. And it'll be very interesting to see how this Russell Westbrook thing pans out if they wind up trading him before the season, where he winds up ending up. Where do you think he would wind up ending up when all is said and done?
Miami's the best fit, but Detroit has the best chance.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple trades. I've seen a couple blogs putting out possible scenarios with Detroit. I even heard one with Cleveland getting involved with Miami in a 3-team deal that would see Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love both heading to Miami, which I have no idea how that one would work out salary cap-wise, but seems like it could be fun. It's going to be a very interesting season, to say the very least, in the NBA, so we have that. With that, though, we're going to get out of here. Erich Tressler, thank you very much for joining me here tonight. Any last words?
Looking forward to the second half of the season.
Absolutely. Should be a lot of fun, and, of course, it starts on Friday. So with that, I am your host, Mike Aglioloro. That'll do it for us. Once again, thank you all for listening, and we will see y'all next week.